Daniel needed to visit his relatives in another city, so he boarded a train leaving from the railway station in his town. Not far from the station, there was a rather long tunnel. The train left the station and started to accelerate. Daniel's main problem was that he was a bit claustrophobic. What is the best place for him to sit? Daniel should sit at the back of the train. This way, he will spend minimum time inside the tunnel since the train is accelerating and moving faster and faster. Now let's say you have a bedsheet that is 50 inches long on each side, and you need to create 50 handkerchiefs with each side 1 inch long. It takes you 1 minute to cut out a 1-inch handkerchief. How long will it take you to cut 50 handkerchiefs? "49 minutes. When you finish the 49th handkerchief, you'll be left with one more piece of fabric you won't need to cut out." Lena, Allison, and Jenny are 3 daughters of mathematician George. When someone asks George about the ages of his daughters, he replies, "The current age of my daughters is prime. Also, the difference between their ages is also prime. So, how old are the girls?" Lena is 2, Allison is 5, and Jenny is 7. Their age difference is always a prime number. 7 minus 2 is 5. 7 minus 5 is 2. 5 minus 2 is 3. 7 criminals robbed a bank and hid the coins they got at a deserted factory. They decided to divide the money equally the next morning. But 2 greedy robbers wanted to deceive the others. They went to the factory at night and tried to divide the coins equally between them. But 1 coin was left. So they called another robber and decided to divide the amount equally among the 3 of them. Sadly, 1 coin was left again. The same thing happened when they called the 4th, 5th, and 6th robbers. Only when the 7th robber arrived in the morning did they manage to divide the coins equally. How many coins were there in total? There were 301 coins. This number can't be divided by 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 evenly. At the same time, 301 can be perfectly divided by 7. Now, look at these 2 ladies performing on the stage. Both of them have to do dangerous tricks. But can you figure out which of them is in real danger? It's the girl with the snake. This is a venomous snake. Someone replaced the harmless snake the girl had to use in her performance with this dangerous reptile. See that box with the warning sign the snake was taken from? The other girl is safe. Even though the skirt seems to be burning uncontrollably, she's holding a special spray to extinguish the fire. On a tropical vacation, 4 friends decided to go snorkeling. Each friend spotted a different marine creature: a sea turtle, a clownfish, a starfish, and a jellyfish. Can you match each of the friends with the marine creature they spotted if Emma didn't see the sea turtle, Liam spotted the jellyfish, Olivia didn't see the clownfish, Jack saw the starfish? Emma spotted the clownfish, Liam saw the jellyfish, Olivia spotted the sea turtle, and Jack saw the starfish. After marveling at amazing sea creatures, our 4 friends rented 4 different watercraft: a kayak, a paddleboard, a jet ski, and a sailboat. Can you match each of the friends with the watercraft they rented based on these clues? Emma didn't rent the kayak or the sailboat. Liam rented the jet ski. Olivia was choosing between the paddleboard and the sailboat. Jack didn't rent the sailboat. Emma rented the paddleboat, Liam rented the jet ski, Olivia rented the sailboat, and Jack rented the kayak. So, I have keys but can't open any locks. I have a flat surface, but you can't stand on it. What am I? I'm a map. A system error caused the change in David's net banking password. To sort this out, he called customer care. This is the conversation he had with the assistant. David, my password has changed. Customer care executive, we have kept your password distinct this time. It has 8 letters, out of which 3 letters are the same as previous. David, okay, thanks. Can you determine the old and the new password of David's net banking account? The original password was changed, and the new password given by the custom care executive is distinct. In the 22nd century, robots live among people, and it's nothing out of the ordinary. But sometimes, they resemble people so much, it makes the detective work way harder. Like this time. Eric Blank, an experienced police officer, has to figure out which of the 3 suspects is guilty of identity theft. He knows for sure the culprit is a robot, but who isn't human? It's the girl in the middle. She has a USB port on the side of her neck. There is a wide field of corn. A goose finds its way into the field and starts running. Can you figure out up to which point the goose can run into the field? The goose can only run till the middle of the field. After that, it'll actually be running out of the field. Look at these 9 marbles and the way they're arranged. Can you move just 2 marbles to form a square? It can be done this way. Marta's shoes were all green except 2, all red except 2, and all pink except 2. How many shoes did Marta have? Just 3, 1 of each color. Janet had a dream. She wanted to become her professor's assistant. He was a famous and talented scientist. The man knew she was a smart girl, but before offering her the position, he decided to test her. The professor took her to a house with 2 rooms. They were completely isolated from each other. In one room, there were 3 switches. In the other room, there were 3 light bulbs. Janet had to stay in the room with the switches. She was allowed to go to the other room only once. She had to understand which switch was connected to each of the bulbs. The girl managed to solve this task. How did she do it? She turned on the first switch and waited for a minute. Then she turned it off. After that, she flipped the second switch and went inside the room with the bulbs. One of the bulbs was on. It was the one connected to the second switch. Janet touched the remaining bulbs. The warm one was connected to the first switch, and the cold one was linked to the third switch. You've drawn a long line. How can you make it even longer without touching it? you need to draw another shorter line nearby. In this case, the first one will be longer than the second one. I have 6 faces and 21 eyes, and still I can't see. What am I? I'm a dice. An empty bus arrived at a bus stop, and 15 people entered. At the next stop, 10 passengers left the bus, and 5 people fewer than at the first stop entered. After the third stop, 15 people left the bus. How many people are still inside? Only one person, the driver. Detectives have been trying to catch 2 infamous bank robbers for several years, and finally, after another robbery, they managed to capture one of the criminals. Police officers interrogated him for 2 days, but he said nothing about the stolen money or his accomplices' whereabouts. Still, in the next 24 hours, the detectives managed to find the place where the money was hidden. It was a small house in the suburbs. In its basement, there was a man who seemed very excited to see the police. He said he had been trapped in the house already for a week. Nobody visited him, and he was starting to run out of food. That's why he was so happy to read the good news in the paper. The police officers immediately realized he was the accomplice they had been looking for. How? If he was trapped in the basement, how could he get a hold of fresh newspapers?
Loki is hiking in a enchanted forest. Suddenly, he gets into a magic trap. A wicked wizard, whose name is Olaf, offers him a deal. I'll set you free if you manage to crack all my riddles. First of all, organize these objects in order of invention. Olaf shows Loki a wheel, a lighter, a vase, a bow, and a light bulb. Can you help him put them into the correct positions? The bow is the oldest invention. Then goes the wheel, the ancient Greek vase, and the light bulb. And finally, the lighter. Next, Olaf shows Loki 2 pictures of his favorite fairy. Can you spot 3 differences between them? Here they are. The next task for Loki is to guess a word. Even when it passes in front of the sun, it doesn't cast a shadow. What is it? Wind. Olaf shows Loki a table with magic potions and ingredients. Ooh. He marked all the ingredients with the colors that they create when added to the potion. Loki has to guess which ingredients were not used in these 3 potions. Can you help him? We need red and yellow for the orange potion. For the blue one, dark blue and white. And for the dark green potion, we need green and black. So the extra ingredient is the pink one. Yeah! Loki cracks the riddle, and Olaf asks the next question. What stones will you never find in a river? Do you have any clue? Dry stones. The next task for Loki is to serve the wizard's girlfriends. Roxanne says, I don't want my cocktail to have any yellow fruits or berries. Sabrina says, I want my drink to have an ingredient that starts from the first letter of my name. And Cassandra says, I don't want any green or red ingredients in my drink. There are 3 cocktails in the fridge at the moment. Can you help Loki distribute the drinks among the ladies? The second cocktail is yellow, so it doesn't have anything red or green. It's for Roxanne. The first one is for Sabrina, because it has strawberries. And the third drink is a blueberry milkshake, so it fits Roxanne's order.
Oh, yeah.
Olaf is satisfied with Loki's intelligence, and he offers him a job.
Yeah.
Loki agrees and becomes the wizard's assistant.
Yeah.
His first task is to clean the kitchen.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Olaf goes into the woods to collect some herbs. He comes across a toxic swamp and immediately gets sick. He needs a special potion. So Olaf sends Loki a letter with his crow. I need your help. Here are several recipes. Don't go anywhere. Prepare one potion and send it to me with the crow. Which potion should Loki make? Can you help him? Olaf says that Loki shouldn't go out, which means he can only use the ingredients that they have in the house. So Loki can't cook the first and the third potion. As for the second one, all the necessary ingredients are in her kitchen. Olaf gets better, but he still needs to stay in bed. So he sends Loki to the pet shop. The task is to buy a new cat. Olaf wants it to look like the cat that lived with him before. It must have green eyes and a one-color tail. Also, it shouldn't have any black wool. And it shouldn't be tabby. Can you help Loki find the right cat for Olaf? Only this cutie meets all the requirements. The next day, Olaf sends Loki to a wild beach to collect some rare magic seaweeds. Suddenly, Loki sees a group of beautiful ladies standing on the shore. He wants to approach. But the ladies notice Loki and begin to move in the opposite direction. Loki runs after them on the sand along the water, but he can't catch up. Then Loki looks around and realizes that he was chasing fairies. How did he know? Loki ran after those ladies on the sand, but he can only see his own footprints. The fairies were flying. Loki dives under the water to collect the seaweed. He sees a little mermaid there. Then he floats to the surface and dives again. Can you spot three differences under the sea? Here they are. Olaf's daughter, Salma, is a talented young witch. She likes getting into trouble. And this time, she was put in jail. Loki comes to the police station to rescue her. He pays bail, and the police officer is going to release Salma. One of these ladies is about to be free. Can you guess who? Take a closer look at the photo in his hand. Salma has brown eyes, so he should release the second prisoner. Loki and Salma should go back to the wizard's house, but the enchanted forest has many unexpected surprises. There are three possible routes they can take. There's a fire-breathing dragon sleeping in the first passage. There's a young magician hanging out on the second road. He hates all women, and he turns them into stones every time he meets them. And the third road runs through a toxic lake. Breathing its vapor is fatal for any living being. Which way is more or less safe? The guys can take the second route. Salma isn't just a woman, she's a witch, so she can deflect the black magic. The guys keep on walking and see an amusement park. The owner is very upset. Someone has stolen many tickets from the register. Loki offers to investigate this case. First of all, he looks through the footage. He's sure that the thief is still in the park. He questions three suspects. Billy says, I rode the carousel and I got very sick, so I wouldn't ride anything else, even for free. Miles says, I'm celebrating my 17th birthday today, My friends and I rode the roller coaster 3 times, and now it's time to go home. And Jessica says, I only visit the Ferris wheel. It's my favorite. Miles has tricked Loki. He's too young for the roller coaster. There's a sign. People under 18 years of age can't ride it. Loki and Salma continue on their way and find 3 apple trees. Salma wants to pick some apples for a magic punch, but only one of the trees is safe. Can you guess which one? All the footsteps are leading to the first tree, but not a single animal walked away from it, so it probably has some hidden danger. There are some creepy runes on the trunk of the second tree, so it's probably cursed. Therefore, they should choose the third tree. The guys are picking the apples and putting them in Salma's hat, and suddenly they meet someone very curious. Crack this rebus if you want to know who. A bear. The guys run away from the bear and hide in a cave. Luckily, Salma managed to collect 14 apples before the escape, because they met 7 hungry gnomes inside the cave. They demand payment for the shelter. How can Salma divide the fruits among the gnomes so that each gnome could get an equal amount of oranges? It's impossible because Salma doesn't have any oranges, only apples. Finally, Loki and Salma return to Olaf's house. Loki takes a look at the porch and says, "Wait a minute, something has changed since I last saw this porch. Look, I have a picture. Can you spot all the changes?" The runes at the door are now reflected. The plant from this pot is gone. The curtains have changed color, and the number of candles is different. Loki enters the house and finds Olaf unconscious on the floor. Someone put a sleeping spell on him and stole his magic tools. Loki interrogates 3 suspects among Olaf's neighbors. Cassandra says, "I just got home from a pumpkin festival. Everyone can verify my words." Ambrose says, "I've been retreating and meditating in my basement for a week. I have no idea who did it." And Roxane says, "It wasn't me, but I guess it was Cassandra. She's just jealous that Olaf decided to date me." Who did it? Take a closer look at the witch's cauldron in Ambrose's house. There's an engraving saying Olaf's property, so he's the thief.
Stella and Bella live in different buildings, but in the same neighborhood. It's Sunday, and they're both home alone with their dogs. Stella is talking to her mother on the phone, and Bella is watching a baseball game on the TV. Who's being negligent? Stella. Although both dogs are risking falling out of the window, her apartment is on the higher floor. Bella goes to a pet shop and leaves her dog, Toby, waiting at the entrance. She purchases some toys and dog food and returns to Toby. She's in the same place where she left him. But someone stole Toby's fancy collar. Bella questions 3 people nearby. Rick, the customer, says, "I came here to buy a new house for my hamster. I don't need a dog collar because I simply don't have a dog." Molly, the sales lady, says, "I'm allergic to animal fur, so I can't even approach your dog. Why would I need to steal its collar?" And Mary, the cleaning lady, says, "I was cleaning boxes with kittens, so I didn't pay attention to your dog." Who's lying? Molly. She's working at a pet store. It's pretty unlikely that they hired someone with a severe allergy. The next day, Bella and Toby go traveling by train. During the trip, Bella gets hungry and goes to the dining car together with her pet. She enjoys her tomato soup, but suddenly, Toby gets frightened by a train beep. He scatters the food and escapes to the next car. Bella is looking for him everywhere, but it seems like Toby just vanished into thin air. Do you have any clue where he might be? Toby knocked over the tomato soup, remember? Now, can you see those little red footprints on the floor? Toby should be hiding behind these suitcases. The train trip comes to an end. Bella checks into a hotel to get some rest. That's when the restaurant manager calls her for help. He left the hotel restaurant and soon, his staff member called him and said that everything was quiet. They decided to close up a little earlier than usual. The manager asked them to send him a picture of the deserted restaurant. This is the photo he received. Everything seems empty, but still something seems off. Can you help him figure out if the employees are being truthful? Seems like this image was photoshopped. The employees removed the people from the picture, but they forgot to erase someone's hand from this table.
Oh no.
Bella goes to the local museum, but today it's closed because of a very weird accident. One lady got sick and began to break sculptures and paintings. Can you figure out what happened by just looking at the footage? See this greenish hand? A zombie sneaked out of this sarcophagus and bit the lady. She turned into a zombie too and began to destroy the museum. Suddenly, the zombie lady pops out of nowhere and begins chasing Bella. She sneaks indoors and hides behind a column, but the zombie is moving closer and closer.
Oh my god.
Bella decides to hide in the bushes nearby. Can you help her find the best shelter? The second bush is the best because it matches the color of Bella's outfit, making it harder for the zombie to spot her. Unfortunately, it didn't help, and the zombie bit Bella, but thankfully, the local doctors have a cure.
Oh yeah.
At the moment, their hospital has 16 patients infected with a zombie virus. Bella is staying in room number 13. She recovers very soon. It's time to leave. She wants to say goodbye to all the remaining patients by visiting every patient exactly once. However, if Bella enters any room twice, she'll become a zombie again. What route should she take to escape from room 13 to room 4? Bella should take the path shown in the picture. Finally, Bella and Toby return home. Oh no! Someone sneaked into her room and painted graffiti on a wall. Bella suspects her roommates, so she asks them only one question. Did you enter my room while I was away? Mia replies, No, I spent all the time at my boyfriend's house. He can verify my words. Mike replies, I only entered your room once to borrow your hairdryer, but the wall was fine. And Emma says, I was too busy at work. I didn't have the time to either enter your room or paint the walls. Who's lying? Mike. He's bald, so why would he need a hairdryer? Mike says, I'll fully pay for the renovation of your room if you solve my riddle. Which alphabet letter is the most curious? The letter Y, because it literally sounds like the question, why? It's a cold, rainy weekend. Bella, Mike, Mia, and Emma are spending Saturday and Sunday together in a country house playing board games. On Saturday morning, they wake up and find out that Bella is missing.
Oh.
The guys look everywhere for her, but they can't find her. Mike calls the police. Detectives arrive quickly, examine the room, and ask everybody what they were doing at 4 a.m. Mike says, I couldn't sleep, so I went downstairs to the gaming room to play some online games. Mia says, I couldn't sleep either, so I went outside to look at the stars. And Emma says, I followed Mia outside to get some fresh air and spent a couple of hours admiring the night sky. The detective figured out the liar immediately. Can you guess who? Mia and Emma are the liars. It's a rainy weekend, remember? Meanwhile, Bella wakes up in a dark cave. Her task is to escape without getting caught. Suddenly, 4 different colored doors appear in front of her. A red one leads to an outer galaxy without a trace of oxygen. A yellow door leads to a water tank with a great white shark. A blue door leads to a time portal leading 66 million years ago, the time when a massive asteroid hit the Earth and made the dinosaurs go extinct. And a purple door leads to a beautiful island filled with beaches and delicious food. There's a sign with only one clue for Bella. Pick the door that's not a primary color. Which door should she open? The purple one. Red, yellow, and blue are all primary colors, while purple is secondary. Plus, don't forget about the beaches and delicious food. Bella opens the door and finds herself in the middle of a beautiful tropical island. She wanders around and finds the locals. They're very upset because a fire-breathing dragon attacked their village. He came from the mountains and fell asleep near the mill where the villagers store all their food supplies. Now they're starving and waiting for superheroes to arrive to get rid of the dragon. There are 3 superheroes available at the moment. Flame Boy. He can set fire to any object with his gaze, even from a great distance. Mr. Plastic. His body is super flexible and he can spread it for miles. And Lady Chill. She can freeze any object with the power of her mind. Can you pick the best superhero for this mission? It's not wise to hire Flame Boy because his power might destroy the food. Mr. Plastic is not useful in this case, but Lady Chill can freeze the dragon. And then the locals will be able to bring it back to the mountains with common effort. The next morning, Bella wakes up on the same island and finds out that someone put tattoos on her body. Luckily, they're temporary, but still, Bella wants to know who pulled the prank. She interrogates 3 suspects. Kira says, I'm a bad artist, so I couldn't draw these tattoos even if I wanted to. Noah says, I woke up just now. I wouldn't have enough time to draw this. And Donna says, I think it was Noah. He's really good at art. Who's lying? Kira. There's a poster on the wall saying that she's the artist of the month. Therefore, her story is fake. Joshua and Jeremy were going on a hiking trip to Adventure Mountains. They were about to leave their room to catch their train, but there's something wrong here. Can you spot the oddity? Well, they're going hiking, but Joshua is wearing shiny business shoes. Those will be too slippery on the mountains. Once they arrived at the train station, Jeremy realized that he had forgotten the tickets. They went to the ticket sales booth to explain their situation. The salesman told them he might be able to give them new tickets, only if they could answer his riddle correctly. I stand tall, yet I never walk. With rocky peaks, I love to talk. Above the clouds, my head does rise. What am I that touches the skies? Can you figure out the answer? It's a mountain. During the train ride, Joshua and Jeremy were enjoying the beautiful scenery from the window. But then, suddenly, Jeremy screamed. Can you tell why? Take a look at the birds flying in the distance. Were you able to spot the small dragon flying with them? Well, Jeremy did. Joshua and Jeremy finally arrived at their destination. Before they started climbing up, they wanted to make sure their water bottles were full for the entirety of the hike. They saw 3 different drinking fountains from where they could fill their bottles. Take a look at them and tell me which ones they should pick. If you look closer at the first fountain, you can see a snake's tongue sticking out in the water flowing from the fountain tap. That's gross. And the second fountain's water has a slightly yellow hue. That's a no from me, so they should pick the third fountain. Jeremy and Joshua were finally ready to begin their hike. There were 3 different hiking trails they could follow. They wanted to choose the longest trail to be able to spend more time on the mountain. Take a look at the hiking trail map. You have 10 seconds to tell me which trail is the longest. It's the second trail. During their hike, Jeremy wanted to take some photos for his social media account, so they decided to go off-path, deep into the forest. But suddenly, an elf stopped them and said,
I am the guardian of this forest. I won't allow you to walk any further. Unless you know the answer to this riddle. I have cities but no houses, forests but no trees, and rivers but no water. What am I?
Do you know the answer? It's a map. It became dark before Jeremy and Joshua could get back on the hiking trail. They decided to spend the night in the forest, just in case. Can you help them pick which tree they should build their tent under? Do you see the snake hole here next to the second tree? The consequences would be disastrous if they built their tent above it. And as for the third tree, there's a bee's nest on one of the branches, so it wouldn't be wise to pick that one. That's why they should pick the first tree. After completing their adventure and returning to their hotel room, Jeremy and Joshua started comparing the photos they had taken. But Joshua noticed that there were 5 differences in the photos they took at the same place. Take a look at them both here. Can you spot them? In the first photo, the mountaintop view is covered with snow, but that's not the case in the second photo. Secondly, the logo that Jeremy's t-shirt has in the first photo is different in the second photo. Thirdly, in the second photo, a pair of glowing eyes can be seen in between the trees, which doesn't exist in the first photo. Creepy. As for the fourth difference, in the first photo, Joshua is holding 2 of his trekking poles. But in the second photo, he's only holding 1. And lastly, in the first photo, there are 2 cable cars riding to the top of the mountain. But in the second photo, there's only 1. Arya's favorite pop star, Peyton Swiftly, was coming to town to give a concert, and Arya really wanted to go. Unfortunately, tickets were sold out very fast, and Arya couldn't get one. However, after one of the ticket buyers returned their ticket, the ticket website announced they would give the ticket for free to the person who knew the answer to this riddle. I'm full of keys, but I can't open any locks. What am I? Can you help Arya out? The answer is a piano. Elsa was working at the HR department, and she was going to interview 3 candidates for the company's project manager position. But as soon as Elsa greeted them, she noticed that one of them was not human. Can you tell who? It's the second guy. He's not blinking at all. 2 pregnant ladies attended the pregnancy yoga class at the gym. But as they were preparing for the class, the yoga instructor noticed that one of them was actually a robot working undercover to study humans. Can you guess who? The second lady is holding an inflatable fitness ball. The weight indicated on the ball is probably just a joke because air cannot weigh that much. Meanwhile, the first lady broke the scales. She's very petite despite being pregnant. If she was a human, her weight wouldn't be able to break these scales. Brandon finally convinced his dad to give money to him to go camping with his friends, with only one condition. He wanted Brandon to send him a photo from the camping trip every day. But the first day he sent him a photo, his father could tell that Brandon lied to him, and he didn't go camping at all. How did he know? Brandon clearly photoshopped himself because everyone else in the photo has shadows, but Brandon doesn't. It was Annabelle's mother's birthday, and she wanted to place a secret gift in her mother's office as a surprise. But when she arrived there, unfortunately, the office door was locked. But luckily, her mom was kind of forgetful, and that's why she left a note with a hint for herself. Take a look at it. Can you figure out the combination? Each number is the number of lines in the respective letter. There are 3 lines in the letter K. There are 2 lines in the letter L. There are 4 lines in the letter E, and there is only 1 line in the letter I. So, following the same logic, there are 4 lines in M, 2 lines in V, 3 lines in Z, and 3 lines in F. That makes the combination 4, 2, 3, 3. Casey wanted a new hobby for herself, so she decided to learn knitting and crocheting. She went to the crafting store to buy supplies. For her beginner's project, she needed to buy a green yarn, size 7 knitting needles, and a pattern book. Take a look inside the store. Can you help her find all these items? Here's the green yarn, here are the number 7 knitting needles, and here is the pattern book. Jackson went hiking in the woods, but when his cell phone ran out of battery, he couldn't use his navigation and got lost. He walked for hours and started to feel exhausted and hungry. Luckily, he finally came across a farmhouse with lots of apple trees. He wanted to pick an apple and rest there while he ate it. But then, suddenly the owner of the farm stopped him and said,
"This is private property. You're stealing my fruits. But I'll let you eat that apple if you can answer my riddle correctly. I can fly without wings. I can cry without eyes. Wherever I go, darkness follows me. What am I?"
The answer is a cloud. Hey, here's another opportunity to train your brain and sharpen your logical thinking skills. Don't miss out on it.
Yeah.
Liam was a doctor from Chicago. Once, he asked his boss to let him attend a medical conference in Berlin. The boss let Liam go but asked him to send a photo report as soon as he got to Europe. The next day, the boss received a message from Liam that said, "Hello from Germany, that's me right now." A photo was attached to the message. After looking at it, the boss realized Liam had lied to him. How did he figure it out? In the photo, there's a clock on the wall that shows exactly the same time as the clock in the boss's office. If Liam was in Germany, the clock would show a different time because of the time difference. A bit of math for you. Can you figure out what comes next in this sequence of numbers? It's gonna be this long number. You see, each next number is a verbal representation of the number before it. This way, if we start with 1, the next number in the sequence will be 1, 1. And the next one is 2 ones. And then we've got 1, 2, 1, 1, and so on. Look at this picture attentively. The guy has sent a message to his girlfriend. He seems to be missing her very much, but is it true? Can you figure out if he might be cheating on her? Yes, unfortunately he is. Look at this napkin. There's a lipstick print on it. He must be with another girl. Once, a man came to a police station. He said he'd been robbed on his way to the bank. He was carrying a briefcase with a big sum of money when a man wearing a black mask and gloves attacked him. The robber snatched the briefcase and ran away. The police officer listened to the man and asked him about a fresh cut on his right cheek. The man replied that it was from a ring the criminal had been wearing. After these words, the policeman immediately knew the man was lying. How did he realize it? Are you as attentive as the police officer to figure it out? The man couldn't know about the ring on the robber's finger, since he claimed that the criminal had been wearing gloves. Turn me on my side, and I'm everything. Cut me in half, and I'm nothing. What am I? I'm the number 8. On my side, I look like an infinity symbol. And cut in half, I'm just 2 zeros. Look at these people very attentively. Your task is to find out which girl the man is interested in. Remember that the answer here lies in the details. And this puzzle can tell us how good you are at reading people. Our body language can tell other people a lot about us. The way you sit, stand, and even move your arms can give away what you're thinking about or how you feel. The girls in the picture have different postures and facial expressions. And once we look closely, we will understand that the man is clearly interested in the girl who is most interested in him. But which one is it? The second one from the left. Her feet are pointed towards the man, and we can say the same about his feet. While girls number 1 and 3 are looking at the man too. They aren't into him all that much. Their feet and body language give it away. A wealthy old man didn't have a will, so he ordered his sons to race their horses, and the one whose horse would be slower would receive his inheritance. The 2 sons realized that they would be unable to race since they would be both holding their horses back. So they went to a wise man and asked him what they should do. After listening to his advice, the brothers started racing at full speed. What did the wise man tell them? He recommended switching horses. Now, whoever wins the race will get the inheritance because they will technically own the losing, slower horse. 4 people came to a river with a narrow bridge that could only hold 2 people at a time. It was nighttime, and they had just 1 torch that had to be used when crossing the bridge. Person A needed 1 minute to cross the bridge, and Person B could do it in 2 minutes. It took Person C 5 minutes to get to the other side, and Person D needed 8 minutes. If 2 people were crossing the bridge together, they had to move at the slower person's pace. Can all these people get across the bridge within 15 minutes or less? Yes, they can. Let's see how it can be done. First, Person A and Person B cross the bridge, and then Person A brings the light back. It takes 3 minutes. Next, Person C and Person D cross the bridge, and Person B brings the light back afterward. It takes another 10 minutes. And finally, Person A and Person B cross the bridge again. This takes another 2 minutes. In total, we've got 15 minutes. Recently, Mark had been feeling some discomfort in his knees, so he decided to go to the doctor. After examining the man, the specialist gave him a piece of paper, saying, "Here's the solution," and then he left the room. What was written in the note? What did the doctor mean? The treatment is a painless operation. The missing letters spell out pain. Thus, Mark should have a painless operation. Thomas was talking with his colleague, and she asked him how many kids he had. He answered that he had 3 children, and she asked him about their ages. Thomas replied, "The product of their ages is 72, and the sum of their ages is the same as my house number." His colleague was confused. The next time she was invited to Thomas's house, she paid attention to his house number, and still, she couldn't figure out the kids' ages. Tom decided to help her. "Oh, that's right, I forgot to tell you the oldest one likes chocolate pudding." And after that, his colleague figured out the ages of the 3 children. Have you understood how old they are? The kids are 3, 3, and 8. The key to this riddle is the colleague knows the sum of the children's ages, but she still can't tell how old Thomas's children are because she is stuck between several possibilities. To narrow it down further, only 2 sets of numbers that multiply to 72 share the same sum. And that's when the man reveals that his oldest child likes chocolate pudding. Only the latter of these 2 sets has a distinct oldest child. Imagine that you're in a dark room. There's a candle, a wood stove, and a gas lamp there. You only have 1 match. What do you light first? First of all, you'll need to light the match. These 5 bags of gold all look identical. Each of them has 10 gold pieces in it, but one of the bags contains fake gold. The real gold and fake gold are identical in every way, except the weight. Each piece of fake gold weighs 1.1 ounce, while a piece of real gold weighs 1 ounce. You have a perfectly accurate digital scale, but you can use it only once. How can you determine which bag has the fake gold? You should take 1 gold piece from the first bag, 2 from the second bag, 3 from the third bag, 4 from the fourth bag, and 5 from the fifth bag. If the number on the scale ends in 0.1, you'll know the first bag contains the fake gold. If the number ends in 0.2, then the fake gold is in the second bag, and so on.
Elsa was 17 years old the day before yesterday. Next year, she'll turn 20.
Yay.
How come? It's possible if the present day is January 1st, while Elsa's birthday is on the 31st of December. The day before yesterday, on December 30, she was still 17 years old. Yesterday, on the 31st of December, she turned 18. Thus, this year, Elsa turns 19 and next year 20. Elsa and her sister Helga explore an old attic in their parents' house. It's very dark and dirty. After that, they go downstairs to have some lunch. Helga's face is all covered with dust, while Elsa's face is super clean. But still, only Elsa goes to the bathroom to wash her face. Why? Elsa noticed that her sister's face was dirty, so she thought her face must be dirty too. As for Helga, she saw that Elsa's face was clean and assumed that her own face was clean too. After lunch, Elsa and Helga go for a walk across an enchanted forest. They reach the riverbank, but the bridge is closed for repairs. The sisters notice two dwarfs fishing in a boat near the bridge. They agree to help the sisters, but their boat is very tiny. It can fit either one sister or two dwarfs. Luckily, they manage to solve this issue. Elsa and Helga cross the river on the same boat. How? Well, first of all, one of the dwarfs brought his fellow on the opposite bank. Then he headed back for the sisters alone. Helga got into the boat and crossed the river. She gave the second dwarf the boat, and he returned to the opposite bank. He picked his fellow dwarf and brought him to Helga. Then one of the dwarfs swam to Elsa and passed the boat to her. She crossed the river and joined Helga, and finally, the second dwarf returned to his fellow. Helga and Elsa keep on walking and get lost in the forest. There are 3 roads to the nearest town. The first route is filled with mutant plants which feed on humans. The second path leads through an ice cave with a hungry dragon frozen inside a huge ice cube. The third route leads through a village of fairies. Their magic makes humans lose their minds. Which way is safe? Well, the dragon is trapped inside the ice cube, so it's not that dangerous. Finally, the sisters reach the town. They're walking down the main street. Suddenly, someone throws an orange right at Helga's head. Elsa identifies the apartment from which the fruit fell out and goes there to complain. She knocks, and a young man opens the door right away. Elsa explains that her sister was hit by an orange that fell from his window. But the guy says, "I was washing my dog when you knocked. Only me and my pet live here, so you confused the floors." But Elsa didn't believe him. Why? According to the man, he was bathing his only pet, but the dog's hair is dry. Therefore, his story is fake. Elsa and Helga enter the local home decor shop. Helga takes a picture of her sister standing in front of the mirror. Can you spot anything odd in this photo? Take a closer look at the mirror. Elsa's hands are reflected wrong, as well as the sale poster behind her. She must be a vampire. Just kidding. The sisters continue exploring the shop, but suddenly Elsa begins to scream and runs away. That's because one of these ladies is not alive. Can you guess who? The first woman is an ordinary human. There's a mirror behind her. The third lady has a painting of herself in the background. And the second lady, who's looking over her shoulder, is a phantom. Her reflection in the mirror doesn't match the reality. Elsa decides to hide in a building nearby. Surprise! It's a pet shop. Elsa wanders around it and spots one weird detail. Can you see it too? The turtle is wearing sunglasses. The locals tell Elsa and Helga about a creepy werewolf who has been scaring the citizens for several weeks. They only know that this werewolf is a lady and she has a husband. He's the only person who can calm her down. Elsa finds 3 suspects who might be the werewolf's husband, but none of them admits it. Can you find him? He's the second guy. There are suspicious brownish hairs on his clothes, although his own hair is blonde. The next day, Helga has a birthday party. Elsa goes to the bakery to purchase a cake for her. She's late, so she rushes over and bumps into a waiter. Elsa hits her head and forgets what cake Helga asked her to buy. She remembers just 3 things. It shouldn't have any green elements, the cake frosting shouldn't include more than one color, and it must have at least one berry. Can you help Elsa find the correct cake? Elsa should take the 4th cake. It's a chocolate cheesecake, so it doesn't have anything green. The glazing is brown and is decorated with cherries. A perfect match. Elsa buys the cake and leaves. The bakery is located inside the highest tower in town. Elsa enters the elevator to go down, but she hits the wrong button and finds herself on the roof. She decides to take some pictures with the iconic huge clock installed at the top of this tower. Oops! Elsa drops her phone from the roof. She decides to leave, but someone has already locked the door, and the elevator won't work. So she's trapped on the roof. Luckily, Elsa can still change the time of the clock. What time should Elsa set on the clock to make someone notice and rescue her? If she sets 5:05 on the clock, it'll look like an SOS signal. Finally, Elsa escapes from the tower and heads to the parking lot. Here's her car. Can you figure out the number of the place where it's parked? '87. Elsa arrives home. Helga shows her vacation photos sent by her new boyfriend, Kyle. In this case, you can see Kyle, his friend Bob, and a humanoid robot, Neo. Neo is standing next to Bob. A person wearing the yellow mask is not a man. What color is Kyle's mask? According to the terms, only the 3rd guy can be Kyle, so his mask is blue. The birthday party is going well. It's almost midnight, so Elsa goes to the kitchen and adds candles on the birthday cake. Suddenly, she remembers that the only lighter in the house is upstairs in her room. She leaves the cake at the table for a minute. Then Elsa returns and sees the cake smashed all over the floor.
Oh no.
She questions 3 suspects. Lauren says, "I was in the living room all night. I don't know who did it." Wendy says, "I went outside to watch the full moon. It's so beautiful tonight." Kyle says, "I was shooting a TikTok dance with Helga." Who ruined the cake? Wendy, take a look out the window. The moon is not full. Busted. The next morning, Helga wakes up earlier than Elsa and checks her feed. Breaking news: a legendary thief ran away from a nearby prison and now creeps around the town. He's a talented shapeshifter, so no one knows for sure what he might look like. Suddenly, Helga hears someone ringing on the door. She opens and faces 2 guys who introduce themselves. Bob is a gardener from a nearby park, and Peter is a garbage man. Both guys want to use a bathroom, so they ask Helga to let them in. But only one of them is safe to invite over. Can you guess who? Bob is wearing clothes with red stains, but he's also holding a brush, so he was probably just painting a fence. Let's take a closer look at Peter's facial hair. One mustache has come unglued. It's fake. So he must be the runaway criminal from the news.
Hey Brightsider, are you ready to give your brain a good shake? Then you're in the right place.
Yeah.
Ryan was a famous artist. Unfortunately, he was 60. He had an accident that left him blind. The man hired 3 people to help him. Jason was his driver, Laura was the housekeeper, and Timothy looked after the garden. One afternoon, Timothy went to talk to Ryan and found the artist on the floor. Someone had attacked him. The man was taken to a hospital immediately, and the police arrived to investigate the case. Jason told them he and Ryan had had a great time in the morning playing computer games. Then he left to pick up Ryan's daughter from the airport. Laura said she'd spent all day in the kitchen cooking dinner. And Timothy said that before finding Ryan, he'd been at the market choosing new fruit trees for the garden. Who was behind the attack? It was Jason. Ryan was blind and couldn't play computer games. Kenneth, a newbie police officer, was walking along the street, proudly wearing his uniform. Suddenly, a pretty girl rushed towards him. "Help!" she screamed. "I've been mugged!" After Kenneth made her calm down, the girl told him her story. "I was walking home from college when a man ran up to me. He hit me in the eye and took all my jewelry and money." When Kenneth heard this, he immediately realized the girl was lying. How? The girl was wearing glasses. If the criminal had hit her in the eye, her glasses would have been shattered. Brian's friends invited him to spend the summer vacation in Europe with them. Unfortunately, the guy had serious problems with his studies. To punish him, his dad took away his passport and locked it in a safe. The only way for Brian to get his documents and have some fun was to crack the code. When he snuck into his dad's study, he saw a piece of paper stuck to the safe. There were 3 drawings on it: a rose, a rainbow, a calico cat, and a banana. Brian thought for a while, then pressed 4 numbers. The code was correct, and the safe opened. Which numbers were they? Two, 7, 3, 1. Each digit corresponds to the number of colors of the objects in the picture. Betty was on cloud 9 after 2 guys asked her out, but she felt she couldn't give hope to both of them. She had to choose one. Stephen was her secret crush. He was from a rich family, handsome and smart. She'd been dreaming about him for a year. John was a good guy too. She knew for sure he was kind and funny. The girl was at a loss. Which one should she pick? Any ideas? Betty should go for John. Stephen isn't serious about her. He has a lipstick mark on his neck. Look at this picture. Who, in your opinion, is from the future? It's that blonde man with a beard. Do you see he's carrying a flashlight? How about these pictures? Who's a time traveler here? It's the man in the third image. He's carrying his produce in a plastic bag. See? A real Viking is hiding among these soccer fans. Can you spot him? It's that red-bearded man in the left corner. Who's a time traveler in this image? It's the woman wearing a yellow skirt. She has wooden shoes on. If it's not a fashion statement, then she's definitely from the past. How about these guys? One of them is from the future. Can you figure out which one? It's the guy on the left. A smartphone is lying next to his hand. But look at the computer he's using. At that time, there were no smartphones yet. The next image is for you. Your task is to figure out who is from the past. It's this lady in a blue dress. Have you noticed a bag where she probably has some coins on her waist? These people look very, shall I say, ancient? But one of them is just pretending. He's actually from the future. Who is it? It's the man on the left. He's holding a blueprint of an aircraft. Okay, now try to use all your attention skills. Which painting is fake? It's the one in the middle. A painter from 1957 couldn't know anything about smartphones. These 3 vampires all claim that they're real, but 2 of them are imposters. Your task is to expose them. Look, there's a mirror behind the vampire on the left, and he does get reflected in it. As for the one in the middle, where are his fangs? So, only the vampire on the right is the real thing. Which of these people isn't very smart? The man is most likely making a mistake. He's gonna feed his cat with dog food. Look at this picture very, very attentively. There are a few mistakes here, but to make this task harder, I won't tell you how many. Try to figure it out on your own. For one thing, there's a car in the painting hanging on the wall, and it definitely looks out of place there. Then, the man seems to be using a banana as a phone. And oh boy, he must really be a very absent-minded guy. He's also wearing different slippers. We've got 3 people here. They all seem to be unwell, but one of them is only pretending. Can you figure out who it is? It's the guy on the right. His phone is in his right pocket. He must have used his right arm to put it there, but it's broken. How is it possible? Look at these people attentively. One of these guys is the baby's father. Can you figure out which one it is? It's the guy on the right. The baby has his eyes. Mark and Liza had been dating for 2 years. One day, the guy came to his girlfriend's house. He was going to propose to her, but when he made it there, he found Liza with another man. Mark was furious. The other guy got scared and rushed out of the house. Liza was shouting that it was her brother, but Mark knew better. Unfortunately, he hadn't seen the guy's face clearly. When he ran outside, he saw 3 men. Which one is Liza's lover? It's the guy on the left. It's freezing outside, and the other 2 guys have red cheeks and noses. But the third guy's face is pale, because he just left a warm house. One day, Mr. Martin called the police. His car had been stolen right from the street outside his house. The police questioned 3 suspects. Eric, a teenager who lived next door, said he had been at school and had seen nothing suspicious. Amy, a young artist renting a house across the street, had been too engrossed in her work to pay attention to her surroundings. But Mr. Brandon, an elderly man whose house was next to Amy's, accused Eric of taking the car. Mr. Brandon was having his breakfast when he saw the teenager get into the vehicle and drive off. Strangely, after his words, the police officers arrested the elderly man. Why? Everything Mr. Brandon could see out of his window during breakfast was his tall brick fence. A famous pop singer, Anthony Black, was attacked after his concert. He was taken to a hospital. The police questioned several of his fans. Linda was crying. "I took Anthony's autograph and couldn't wait to boast to my friends about it." Lisa said, "I asked Mr. Black to sign his photo. After I got it, I went to buy a coffee." And Jason said, "Anthony was super nice and friendly. I didn't notice anything strange." The police immediately arrested the fan who seemed suspicious. Who was it? It was Lisa. The autograph on the photo looks different from the singer's real signature. Richard Brooks, a famous jeweler, called the detective's office saying he had just been robbed.
I spent the entire morning showing diamond rings to a few people. A gentleman in a suit, a woman with her son, and a couple. When I looked down to grab the store's most expensive ring, I felt somebody hit me on the head. I fell forward, and when I woke up, everybody was gone,"
Brooks told the detective. The detective asked to take a look at the security cameras, and in a few minutes, he figured out who had robbed it. Take a look at the image. Can you tell who did it? If you look closely, you'll see that the woman that was in the store with her son is carrying a teddy bear. But look at that bear's eye. It's bright like a diamond. She must have stolen it. Amy lives in a cozy townhouse with 3 roomies, Jill, Alice, and Nora. Take a look at these 4 bedrooms. Can you tell which one belongs to Amy? Let's go one by one, Sherlock. In the first room, there's a comb with some green hair stuck to it. Nora's the one with green hair, so that must be her room. Then in the room to the right, there's a single red sock under the bed. Take a look at Jill's feet. She's missing that same sock. That must be her room. In the room right under this, there's a yellow jacket hanging on the chair. And Alice is wearing the same colored pants. It looks like the 2 pieces are a suit, huh? This leaves the last room, with a huge letter A poster hanging on the wall. That must be Amy's room. Phew, that took some work. Bobby entered a coffee shop excited to drink his daily cappuccino. But when he went to pay, he realized he had forgotten his wallet. The barista, instead of getting mad at him, suggested another way out. If Bobby could win his game, he would give Bobby the cappuccino for free. Bobby agreed. Okay, I'm going to tell you 3 facts about myself, and you have to figure out which one is false, the barista said. Here are the facts. I have 3 brothers. I hate the color red. I have a PhD in philosophy. Can you help Bobby out? Which fact do you think is false? It's the second one. Look at how many red things the barista owns. His cell phone case, the belt he's wearing, and his hat. Kevin had to travel to Los Angeles on business. He checked into his hotel and went out for the series of meetings he had during the day. After a long day of work, he came back to the hotel exhausted. He ordered some room service and fell asleep binge-watching his favorite TV show. But in the middle of the night, he was woken up and kept turning and tossing around in his bed. That's when he picked up the phone, made a call, didn't say anything, then finally fell back asleep. Who did Kevin call and why? That's easy. He called the room next to his. His neighbor's snoring was through the roof, so it woke Kevin up. When he called his next-door neighbor, it woke him up, and Kevin didn't need to say anything. The neighbor stopped snoring, and Kevin was finally able to sleep. Will and Frank went hiking on their summer vacation. They walked for hours before finding the perfect spot to set camp. in the middle of a deserted island. The next morning, they thought it would be safe enough to leave their things unattended and went for a short walk around the island. When they came back, their stuff was scattered everywhere, and some of their things were missing. Take a look at the picture. Can you tell who stole their things? Nobody. Look at how that palm tree is swinging. A storm is clearly coming and the wind got pretty harsh. So it was probably just the strength of the wind that scattered all their stuff around. And some of it might have gotten into the ocean. Yikes. You wake up and find yourself trapped in a room with 4 doors in front of you. When you hear a monster coming, you're sure you're running out of time, so you check the doors quickly. The leftmost door has a sign on it saying, "Take the door on the right to break free." The second door has a sign saying, "It's the right door." The third door holds the sign, "Freedom is just right in front of you." And the last door has a sign saying, "Don't trust the signs." Which door should you choose? Well, there's a little bit of wordplay here. Let's see why. The first door says to take the door on the right. The second one says it's the right door. It doesn't say that it's the correct door, so one could conclude that it's pointing to some of the doors on the right. The third door says freedom is just right in front of you. But that just doesn't make any sense, does it? You can interpret that as it's pointing to the door just on your right. And that's it. It's the last door. It tells you not to trust the other signs, but it doesn't tell you that they're false, does it? Someone stole a rare diamond from Mrs. Monica Fraser's house. Mrs. Fraser claims she walked into her bedroom and found that the glass box was broken and her diamond was gone. She called Detective Brian, who soon arrived at her place. He gathered 3 suspects. Steve, the gardener, said he was on holiday that week, so he wasn't anywhere near the house when it happened. Sophia, her cousin, said she didn't even know Monica had a diamond hidden in her house. And Adeline, the cleaner, said that when she cleaned the house around 10 p.m. the previous night, everything seemed all right. Take a look at the suspects. Can you tell who stole the diamond? It was Adeline, the cleaning lady. It seems that right after she broke the glass and stole the jewelry, she also wiped off the pieces of glass while cleaning as well. It was a lazy Sunday morning, and John was having breakfast in the kitchen. Suddenly, he heard a loud noise of glass shattering. He walked into the living room and saw that someone had just broken one of his windows. He was mad and decided to go outside to see if he could find the culprit. There were only 3 people in the street. Jake, a young boy, was coming home from football practice. He was holding a ball in his hands, but he swears he didn't do anything. Stephen, John's longtime friend, was carrying a toolbox and said he'd just decided to go over there to fix John's window. Robert, the newspaper guy, was riding his bike and throwing newspapers at people's front lawns. After interviewing them all, John knew who had done it. It was Robert. If you look at the lawn, the newspaper is lying on the grass beneath the window. He threw the newspaper towards the mailbox but missed it and hit John's window. Whoops! It's best John just laughs about this, huh? Becca and Tom are a couple, and they decided to spend their Saturday afternoon enjoying New York's good summer weather. One of them rented a scooter from Brown's Scooters and needed to pay for their ride. The owner of the scooter company came to charge the user the $15 they owed. Both Becca and Tom, who were sitting on a park bench at that moment, were arguing over who should pay for the scooter ride. Becca said that Tom was the one who wrote it, so he should pay for it. But Tom said it was Becca that wrote it, and she should pay for it. Can you tell who's lying? Becca is lying. Take a close look at Becca's footprints. They lead directly to the scooter. A villain lured Detective Johnson into a trap. He told the detective that if he wanted to survive, he needed to crack a riddle. Then he put a jug of juice and an empty glass in front of him. There was nothing else on the table. Johnson needed to fill the glass to the brim, but after that, the jug had to contain the same amount of juice as it did at the beginning. Can you help the detective figure out how to do it? It's very simple. The detective should pour the drink into the glass and then place it inside the jug. An elderly lady was walking in the park when a stranger grabbed her bag and hurried away. The woman told the police the man was wearing a coat, a hat, and glasses. He also had a mustache. The police officers ran in the direction the lady showed them. Some distance away, they found the hat, coat, and glasses lying on the ground. They realized that the criminal could be hiding in the nearby cafe. Look at these 4 men. All of them are cafe visitors. You need to understand who took the bag from the elderly woman. It can't be the man in a hat or the one wearing a coat. The criminal also got rid of his glasses, so it can't be the man in the corner. It means that the man wanted by the police is the one on the right. He has a small wound on his upper lip. He must have gotten rid of his fake mustache in a hurry. Builders were mixing sand, gravel, and cement for the foundation of a house. Suddenly, one of the workers noticed a small bird hopping along the top of the foundation wall. At one point, the bird misjudged the distance and fell down one of the holes between the blocks. No one could reach it since the bird was too far down. The hole was also too small for it to fly out of. Someone suggested using 2 sticks to try to pull the bird out, but this idea was rejected because it could easily injure the fragile bird. What would be the easiest way to get the bird out of the hole without hurting it? Since the workers have plenty of sand at hand, they can pour a little at a time into the hole. The bird would constantly keep shifting its position and get closer to the surface along with the rising sand. Now this riddle will require some thinking and analytical skills. You might even need to get a pen and a slip of paper. Listen attentively. 2 criminals were caught stealing. Detective Brightbrain suspects that the criminals are in cahoots. But this is just speculation, and there's no proof. The detective offers each of the criminals a deal to rat on his comrade and get freedom for this. But the other criminal will be sentenced to 10 years in prison. If the criminal refuses to testify, he'll spend 6 months in prison for refusing to cooperate with the investigation. If both testify against each other, both will receive 2 years in prison. The criminals are isolated from each other and cannot communicate. It's in everyone's interest to reduce the time spent behind bars as much as possible. What decision should each criminal make? Make a deal with the investigation or remain silent? Since they can't communicate with each other, the criminals have 4 possibilities. A is silent, and B is silent. Equals each gets 6 months in prison. A is silent, and B testifies. B is released and A is sentenced to 10 years. A testifies and B is silent equals A is released and B is sentenced to 10 years. A testifies and B testifies equals both get imprisoned for 2 years. If the suspects are not allowed to communicate, then they do not know what the other will choose. In this situation, if A remains silent, then, depending on B's decision, he will be sentenced to 10 years or 6 months. If A testifies against B, A will receive 2 years in prison or will be released. So it will be more profitable for each of the suspects to testify against each other, so as not to be sentenced to 10 years. But if A and B had the opportunity to communicate, then of course, the best solution for each of them would be to refuse to make a deal with the investigation and get only 6 months in prison. On the first day of school, someone pierced the wheels of the principal's car. When a detective arrived, she immediately suspected that the culprit was not one of the students, but an adult, since all the children were in the classroom. So, she questioned 4 teachers, asking each of them what they had been doing at 8 a.m. Mr. Walter said that he'd been on his way to school, running late. Mrs. Thomas answered that she had been checking her students' exam papers. Mr. Benjamin said that he'd been reading a newspaper. And Mrs. Calvin explained that she had been in her office with her husband, who had come to visit her. The detective immediately realized who had punctured the tires on the principal's car. Who was it? It was Mrs. Thomas.
Oh, no.
She couldn't be checking exam papers on the first day of school. Mary Levis was a famous detective. Once, she was gathering all available information on a tricky case. A well-known banker disappeared from his office. The detective had 5 suspects: Alice, Jack, Stephen, Nicholas, and Maria. The thing is, on the banker's table, Mary found a diary with several entries. The latest entry said, "At 10 o'clock, I have a meeting with Maria. The next day, at 1 o'clock, I have to meet with Nicholas. And on June 3rd, I have an $11 million deal with Stefan. It's important not to mix it up." After carefully examining the evidence, the detective realized who was behind the banker's disappearance. Who was it? It was Jack. All the numbers in the last entry, 10, 1, 3, and 11, are the order of the letters in the alphabet. By matching the numbers with letters, you can get the name. There was a theft in a multi-story building. The victim was sure she would receive a large payment from the insurance company. As for the robber, she claimed he had jumped out of the window and disappeared. The detective went to the first floor, opened a closed window, and threw a coin out of it. Then he went up to the second floor and did the same. He continued to climb floor after floor, opening windows and throwing coins, until he reached the last one. Then he returned and said that the victim was lying. How did he understand it? The detective had to open every window on every floor. If the robber had jumped out on his own, he wouldn't have been able to close the window behind him. He had an accomplice, and most likely, it was the victim who wanted a payout from the insurance company. Jake and his friend Jonathan liked challenging each other. One would suggest something they could do, and the other would prove it wrong somehow. One day, Jake surprised Jonathan by stating, "I can answer any question in the world." Jonathan was sure that he could win the challenge, so he accepted the task of proving it wrong. He wrote up a test full of super hard questions. After a while, Jake returned the test. Jonathan lost the challenge. He had to admit that Jake could indeed answer any question. How did Jake win? He indeed answered all the questions by writing, "I don't know." 2 workmen were repairing a roof. Suddenly, they both fell down the chimney and found themselves in a large fireplace. One man's face was smeared with soot, but the face of the other was clean. The second man washed his face, but the worker whose face was dirty didn't, and just went back to work. Why? When the two men looked at each other, the one with the clean face thought his face was dirty as well. The other man, though, looked at his companion and thought that his face was clean.